There's only a few things Jon Jones really struggles with in life. Operating a motor vehicle around pregnant women. Um, well, I don't know. But one of those things is boxing, primarily boxing defense. Now, I had made a video not that long ago talking about how I felt like Stipe Miocic is a dangerous fight for Jon Jones and too many people are counting him out. Now, while I do believe that's true, the fact of the matter is Jon has way more skills than Stipe does. Jon has elite wrestling, elite grappling. He absolutely mutilates people in the clinch with knees and elbows, and his Greco-Roman background makes his clinch game that much more dangerous. Give Jon just a single underhook and all of a sudden you're airborne. Not to mention, Jon has very good kicks, sneaky high kicks, and the second you try to circle away from him, he'll hit you with a spinning back kick to the body. A big reason why he has so much success with his kicks is he is very good at using his range to manage distance. He's good at keeping you on the outside where you can't hit him, but you are in perfect range for him to catch you with his high kicks. Parallel this with Stipe, whose main skills are one, wrestling, but Daniel Cormier was by far the better wrestler in his matchups against Stipe. And DC and Jon were pretty even as far as the wrestling goes. I'd even say Jon might have edged him out. So Jon is gonna be the better wrestler than Stipe. He also doesn't have any submission threat on the ground, while Jon, he loves the guillotine, and he's been working with Gordon Ryan in anticipation for this fight. So I would not be surprised if we saw some submission attacks from Jon. Something tells me Jon wants to get a Darce this fight. He'd be very good at them. I don't know why he hasn't done them more often, but something tells me Gordon's working on it with him. And the other main skill Stipe has is boxing. And that is where this fight officially gets interesting because Jon, he has a boxing problem. I will be honest. Now, like I said earlier, Jon is one of the best fighters in the world at using his range to manage distance. He likes keeping his opponents at a range where they can't hit him, but he can hit them. Now, here's where the problem arises. If his opponent is able to get in the pocket, Jon, he doesn't have very good head movement. And this is typically the case for tall, rangy fighters who like to keep distance. Purely for the fact you don't need to rely on head movement nearly as much as a shorter fighter does. So when a fighter is able to get on the inside against Jon, what he typically does is he puts his left hand up, he extends his right hand fully out, and he backs up. Now, this isn't a horrible strategy. The way you're going to get knocked out from a punch is if you're running into it, or if you don't see it coming. But Jon, by keeping his backhand up and moving away, typically he can avoid a lot of power. But still, at the end of the day, this is a dangerous game to play, and Jon has almost gotten his head knocked off a couple times. Daniel Cormier, who was a lot quicker than Jon, if he was able to get Jon backed up against the fence where he couldn't back up, Jon was vulnerable to punches. And he got tagged pretty decently right here. Thiago Santos is another one. He used to fight at 185 pounds, so he is very quick. And when he blitzed right here, Jon was very vulnerable. He was able to use his length to not take the brunt of the punch, and he slightly rolled with each one, still knocked his mouthpiece out though. And of course, there's Dominic Reyes, who for the first 3 rounds of his fight with Jon, he was pushing the pace hard. Jon wasn't really matching it. He was fighting pretty slowly, and because of that, he was able to get past Jon's arms and land shots. Now, some of you may be noticing a pattern here. Every example I just gave, all of these fighters have a lot of speed and quickness, which is pivotal for getting on the inside of a taller opponent. Historically, Stipe certainly isn't slow. He was never specifically known for his speed and quickness, but he definitely was on the quicker side of most heavyweights, especially when he was fighting Daniel Cormier and he cut all the way down to 230. But like I talked about in my last Stipe video, he is coming into this fight at 250 pounds. He's bulking, definitely trying to prepare for the wrestling of Jon. He's also 41 years old now, and we haven't seen him fight in a couple years. So this is a big question mark. Is he going to be quick enough to get on the inside of Jon Jones regularly? If not, I think he has a very small chance of winning this fight. If he is and he can, then he has a real shot. You still have to lean towards Jon Jones pretty heavily, but Jon definitely does have a small hole here that Stipe can certainly exploit.